Here's your countdown, motherfucker. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Vlad and Yazi podcast.
It's the Yazi and Vlad podcast.
It's the Yazi podcast.
Episode 10. We're changing the name.
Here we go, guys.
Oh, camera's up there.
Camera's up there.
Camera's up there.
First of all,
we have multiple cameras now. We're shooting from 2 different angles.
Camera here, camera
there, camera there, camera there, camera everywhere. We're only going to post one camera. The other cameras are purely for us.
To see our different angles, which one is better, maybe this angle's better, maybe that angle's better. We'll see. Anyways, happy Women's International Day, everybody.
Happy Women's Day to all you women.
And shout out to the men that forgot to buy shit for their girl, their wife, or their mom, or their sister. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I'm a piece of shit.
I didn't buy anything, but I congratulated them. It's not a big deal here in Canada, as it is in the rest of the world.
World. It's International Women's Day. Who made it international? Was there a summit for this? Is there an International Men Day? Do we get a day? Why don't we get a day? I'm not bad about it.
I think there is.
Wondering.
I'm pretty sure there is. Just nobody gives a fuck about it. Men, even if it was a big deal, men wouldn't even give a fuck. There's the Father's Day. Does your dad give a shit about Father's Day?
I don't think so.
When I did talk to my dad, I don't talk to my dad in case anybody's wondering anymore. But when I did talk to my dad, he didn't give a shit. I think I got him a Father's Day present once. I think it was
shit. He's like, oh yeah, today's Father's Day. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, March 8th, everybody.
Thanks for still paying attention.
10.
March 8th is the recording day.
What we got today? Should we dive right into it?
Yeah, you want to start? You want me to start?
Let's talk about this stuff that I wrote down on my paper about the secret plant life. So there's this book that came out quite a while ago. I thought it was a newer book. I heard of it recently. It's a secret life of plants.
So is this a book by that chick that you were telling me, that Ari Shafir?
It's a book that chick was referencing, and that chick is like a spiritual healer, and she's super into higher power and cleaning up your aura, being basically stuff that people don't really believe in, and there's hard scientific evidence behind it, but at the same time there isn't, right? So it's kind of skeptics. Anyways, this book is super interesting because there's this experiment in this book that they use a polygraph that they connect to a plant, and they record data of the plant's feeling, basically. So the whole book, the premise of the book is tell you the plants have feelings. Yeah. Which is obvious, but can you prove it? You cut the plant leaf, it's not gonna cry, but it actually does. You put this polygraph to it, and once the owner starts cutting its leaves and it starts falling down, you can see the polygraph just going crazy and just ramping up. It's feeling stuff, and it's
pretty wild, bro.
And before the person cut that plant, the polygraph was showing, the OSA was connected to a human, so it was showing similar.
Imagine you could hear plant or feelings, screaming for their feelings. Yeah. If you were walking through a forest, and even none of you're not hurting anything. But all the trees dying from bugs and stuff, a woodpecker knocking at it and shit. And the whole forest is just screaming at you.
Can you imagine mowing a lawn, just you're literally savaging through villages of grass.
Didn't even think about
just
that.
Just walk around in their blood. There's green everywhere. It's a complete massacre.
That's pretty wild, man. Because I've burned a lot of wood for fires and stuff. I've chopped a lot of trees down.
You chopped trees down, live trees?
Yeah. Well, I chopped a tree in my backyard, and then a few years ago there was a tornado not too far from us, and I went and helped. My mom's friend owns a farm, so all these trees were half broken and shit. So we had to chop everything down. So I guess they weren't fully dead yet, but I don't know, it's probably 50 or 60 trees that we had to chainsaw down and then chop up into logs and shit.
I know exactly what you mean, man. immigrant life, bro, haunts us all, bro.
Dude, I don't know how, like...
I think the same story you're talking about, my mom went around driving around neighborhoods, not even my neighborhood, like multiple neighborhoods, and she literally pinpointed where there's trees that falling down, and was my job to go collect trees in my fucking... Back then, I was driving a van, a Dodge Caravan, so I literally had to take the seats out and fill this van to the brim with wood to take home. Which is good. Like, it was hard work. Until this day, we're actually still using that wood.
Dude, wood's expensive. They charge you like $5-6 a bag. You gotta buy them by like the cord.
You gotta go places up north and find like some trees that's already dead. You chop it down, just throw it in your car.
You can buy like you know what a cord of wood is?
A cord of wood?
Yeah, a cord of wood. So it's basically it's one log layer, and it's like 8 feet long and 4 feet high. Mm-hmm. And that you can buy those, like, depending on the type of wood, between $50 to $100. $50 to $100. So it's 8x4, like, and then it's like a foot or 16 inches long, however long the logs are.
This is such new information to me. I never bothered with the price of wood.
It's way cheaper than buying it by the bag for like $6, but like it's still like that's cheaper. Like if you're buying like hardwood because you will like want to have like a clean fire in your house, like hardwood, so it lasts a long time. You're not putting like a bunch of like logs in. You're paying like $120, $140 like for a cord of wood. Like that's still a lot of wood.
That's a lot of wood.
It's still like expensive for wood.
I never looked at the price of wood before. I don't know why. I never need.
I did. We looked into it this fall because we wanted it for our fireplace.
Man, I can't wait for the next storm, man. We need to go collect some wood, man.
Yeah, well, no, that's why I looked into it. Fuck that shit. I ain't driving around in my BMW collecting wood, shoving trees in the back.
I drive a BMW, guys.
Fuck you.
I'm kidding. What else we got for today? We got some...
Yo, we watched... You want to talk about the movie we watched? This is the sister fucking movie?
Oh, man. This is... It came out in 2010. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, like 2009
I thought it was like new.
2010. Yeah.
I thought it was new.
It was
like back then people got away with much more shit. Though.
So it was so expensive, like it was 13 million euros because like it was all like visual effects, like it was experimental like technology at the time. Like it's probably ancient technology now, but it was experimental at the time, and like that's like why they had that extended visual scene for like 30 minutes, so like near the start of the movie where he's tripping on shit because like they were trying to show off this technology and stuff.
That makes sense. And then they got into the storyline.
And I guess like the soul like flying scenes in it, like they were like those were pretty expensive too because they used a crane.
Oh really?
Yeah, which you could use a drone now. Right? Like a drone would make it so simple.
This movie has interesting concepts. Like if we skip past the point of the incest or whatever, like
there's some sister fucking going on, which could have been like DMT, totally.
It's fucking interesting, like because DMT apparently like gives you some sort of key to another dimension. Yeah, you perceive the world differently. It alters your consciousness, and it fucks you up. Like, I mean, indigenous people do it for like that's like probably the only way I would do it if I'm like fucking out there in nature with indigenous people. I wouldn't like try to get it here and like let me do it in my house type of shit. Like I want to experience nature in nature the way it's intended to be. Yeah. And this movie talks about you being on this DMT in this different world and then pretty much dying. And
so it incorporates like Tibetan Buddhism like dying rituals. So like something about like how if you're not satisfied with your life when you die, your soul stays on Earth like it floats around until you start experiencing nightmares, and then when you start experiencing nightmares, like you realize like your whole life has been shit or all the things you did wrong or whatever, then you reincarnate, and then basically they believe in this reincarnation, and so it incorporates this like Tibetan Buddhism like death like beliefs with dying on DMT. And the character basically like gets set up by like one of his friends. He ends up getting shot by the police.
Why he got set up.
Yeah, like we're gonna try not to give too much away, but most of like what I'm gonna say is like essentially in the descriptive like and in the trailer. And then so basically he dies, and then it follows his soul like throughout the sequences of his life in non-chronological orders. And it basically shows why his life is fucked up, why he got the way he is, like, without his parents, and how, like, the world is shit and unfair, and blah, blah, blah. And it's, like, great movie if you take out the sister fucking and the incense that was in it. So, I'm pointing this out because I want everybody to be fully aware, because, like, I was shocked, and I got pissed off in the movie, and we shut the movie off, like...
It was hilarious.
An
Vlad
hour...
was, like, yelling and shit and pissed off. And, you know, like... I'm a Game of Thrones fan. Like, I watched that shit for 9 years, you know. I could ignore it to a certain degree, you know. Like, it's... But it's funny because Vlad doesn't have a sister. He's getting all pissed off, and there was a climax in the movie. He's like, we're shutting it off. I'm like, yeah, but, like... I'm not gonna ruin it.
The movie was just so uncomfortable.
It was
like,
uncomfortable.
At no point was I actually
it was not
enjoying
a happy
it.
movie.
Like looking back and talking about it, like
movie.
there's lots to talk about in the movie and stuff, and I'm sure there's still lots in that hour. And I went on Wikipedia and I read the plot line, and it gets fucked up.
It gets even
it gets crazy,
I would've
and
been able
like
to put up with that.
yeah, I don't even know like if we get like yeah.
Oh yeah,
so.
It was. And at one point, like, we all are aware of sex scenes. We all seen sex scenes in movie. You know, they start making out, they get comfortable, they fall in bed, and cut scene morning. We all know what happened. In this movie, no, it's not like that. Like, it's like watching a dirty film. That's the best way I could put it. Like, we have seen some shit.
We saw cock this weekend.
I wasn't ready for it. You know, I wasn't ready to see some cock. Like, is she gonna pull it out? Is she gonna? Oh, there goes the pants. There goes the belt. Oh, the underwear. Oh my God. Yes. So that was what happened. And the camera's over there.
The camera is over there. It's okay. We'll get used to it, right? New technology, new equipment.
The movie was interesting, though. I definitely would recommend watching it if you want to be in like weird mood where it's like not comfortable. It's very cringy.
And if you really,
I don't know if anybody ever wants to be in that mood, but it's for you if that's your shit.
And if you really want to experience a journey, watch it on mushrooms like we did.
Yeah, that shit was fucking uncomfortable. You know, you're supposed to be in peace and harmony.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got this disturbing shit. But it was so cool because, like, in the movie, the person was taking a hit of the DMT or whatever, and then the scene's completely cut to, like, him hallucinating. So, like, we're just looking at the TV and we're like, yeah, like, look at him hallucinating. Then he takes another hit, and we're getting crazier, and we're like, fucking stop hitting it, man. Like, fuck.
The movie's shot from, like, a first-person, like, point of view, and, like, I'm pretty sure Yazi was so high on mushrooms that, like, he totally believed that he was, like, the character in the movie.
Yeah, up until, like, some point, I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah. But that movie talks about interesting stuff. And talking about mushrooms and LSD and all that stuff, you know, another natural way to get high?
Let's see.
Talking about Buddhist monks and stuff like that.
Cactus?
That's an external substance. I meant more like an internal way.
Oh, you said natural.
Well, obviously meditating. You've all heard of meditating.
Tell people about this. Yeah. Tell them about that.
It's interesting. So, like, we all heard, like, this alming chant that comes from Buddhists or monks, whoever meditate. Like, it's very, like, stereotypical at this point. We all heard of it, but, like, the main point of it, I actually really read into it. It's the vibrations that it causes within your body. So basically, when you put on the Darth Vader voice and you get in this chanty and you're kind of been in this state where you have your eyes closed, you focus on your breathing, and you're tap into a consciousness where you're not asleep but you're not awake, and while you're chanting, with the chanting, it's basically vibrates your body, and when you vibrate your body, your throat connects all the way up to your top of your brain. So when you're vibrating through your throat, it vibrates the top of your palate. And what's on top of your mouth palate, you ask, is a pineal gland. pineal gland is an interesting little part. It's like almost like a seed. They call it the seed of consciousness.
Pineal gland.
Pineal gland. But yeah, they say it modules your sleep pattern. So it basically responsible for your dreams and like the way your brain state is in like the dream realm and stuff like that. So when they vibrate the top of their palate. And then, like, just at the right frequency, they tap the pineal gland and they tap into this different consciousness where they literally get fucking high. That's why, like, it's so powerful to, like, you know, if you eliminate all substances from your body and you actually focus on yourself and, like, how your brain actually works, you could literally reconstruct your brain. Like, this lady we're talking about, she also talks about very interesting stuff about, like, the way your life is... operating in loops. So like there's continuous loops that you always go through life that you got used to. Basically let's call them habits for the sake of the argument. So these habits are like loops that you're used to go through. And she talks about like if you want to change your life, you got to realize that these loops have formed neural pathways in your brain between your receptors, because that's your pattern, that's what you do, that's how your brain works. So if you do something differently, and if you start thinking differently and start exhibiting different behaviors, you pretty much create new neural pathways, and you basically reconstruct your brain and how it operates, and destroying old pathways if you don't want to lose old habits. It's fucking interesting, man. Like, and she talks about like doing all that without like substances or whatever, which is pretty cool. And Ari Shafir, he's like super mushroom guy. And he's like, wow, like it was interesting. I definitely recommend listening to that podcast. It's the latest Ari Shafir podcast on the Skeptic Tank.
I think you shared it on our Twitter, right?
Yeah, I retweeted it,
Yeah. Check out our Twitter, follow, subscribe on YouTube, like this video.
Interesting. That's what, this lady.
But mostly check out our Twitter and check out this video. Ari Shafir liked our tweet.
Woo! Shout out to Ari.
Shout out to Ari. Thanks.
My man.
Yeah, I think we might have mentioned that last podcast. I don't know.
Maybe.
Did we talk about it? I don't know.
It every podcast.
Bro, we got 10 hours of talking out of the internet. I don't know what the fuck we talked about anymore. I honestly don't remember what we talked about.
It's okay.
The first 9 episodes. I don't remember any of them.
We just talk, people. We could restate stuff.
Somebody could be like, yo, I can't believe you said that shit on episode 4. Like, I have no idea what the fuck I said. I have no idea what you're talking about. I probably didn't mean it, though.
Sorry if I offended
anybody. Yeah. I think I might have made a Me Too joke at some point.
Well, hope not.
Yeah. It's Women's Day. Let's not go there.
Yeah. This is our 10th.
But why can't... I can still talk about my...
Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Well, I was thinking, because one of the things I wanted to talk about today was Mormonism, and this scam artist from the Mormon community I was telling you the other day about. Yeah. But then I thought it's International Women's Day, Mormonism, they got so many wives, maybe so, but whatever.
That's why it's more perfect.
Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't really have anything to do with it. So, basically,
I just want to get Me Too'd.
I want to. Yeah, no, I don't know why I haven't done anything. Really, I'm just afraid.
I'm just afraid. Overcompensating for shit you have done in the past, lad. What have you done?
I used to sell drugs.
I'm kidding.
I still do, but I used to too.
What?
No. I don't sell drugs. That was a Mitch Hedberg joke, though.
That was a Mitch Hedberg joke.
Yeah.
I realized that as soon as you said it.
So I'm gonna kind of give a brief background about Mormonism. Just so I can talk about the actual scam artist that I want to talk about, because Mormonism's pretty fucked up, and I'm pretty sure it's a cult. So basically, it started in the early 1800s, I think 1809 or something. Started by a dude named Joseph Smith.
Smith.
Right, and so the claim is that he was chilling one day, and this angel from heaven named Moreni or something like that appeared to him and led him to the spot in the forest where he discovered a set of gold plates that had a whole bunch of writing transcribed.
Sounds legit.
And it was God's interpretation of the Bible. because like the Bible's already an interpretation of God's words. So then, right? Yeah, I don't know, some shit like that, right? I might be interpreting this now wrong, but it's all a bunch of interpretations, right? So okay, so let's move on. So this Joseph Smith dude finds these golden plates. Which nobody knows where they are now, by the way. And he now interprets these golden plates and writes the Book of Mormon. Once again, more interpretations. Right? That's what happens. He writes the Book of Mormon, and all these people are like, yo, we love this new interpretation. Like, this is definitely, like, the way God meant to, like us to live our life. So we're gonna follow you, Joseph Smith. You're our new, like, Messiah, basically. Joseph Smith. So it started in, like, Vermont. So then, like, Joseph Smith dies, and, like, this next guy that gets, like, in control, like, the presidency of, like, the Mormon Church, which is, like, the Church of Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints, or some shit like that, LDS Church. So Brigham Young is the second president of now the Mormon Church. Second Mormon president. So Brigham Young, like, the Mormons are getting prosecuted in Vermont. So Brigham Young's like, yo,
why are they getting prosecuted for?
I don't know. Americans love to hate people that are different.
Fair enough.
Right? So because
in case the audience are curious.
Right? Because they were trying to do polygamy and stuff. I don't know if they were actually doing polygamy at that time, but they were trying to do polygamy.
It was illegal back then, probably.
Oh, it's still illegal.
Polygamy's still illegal.
Polygamy's always been illegal. Yeah. And then because it ruins the sanctity of, like, marriage, right? So, like, any country that's ever been intertwined with the church, it's all, like, polygamy's always been illegal, because of that.
Unless you're, like, the elite or something. If you're the king.
Yeah. There's
exception
exception for everything. There's always special guys. Yeah, for sure. So basically, like, they're getting prosecuted in Vermont, and Brigham Young leads them on a journey out to Utah, where he's bought, like, basically, like, the whole state of Utah, this massive plot of land, and they're going to start their own new community, a new town, like, a new development, and, like, tens of thousands of people, like, follow him. Like, there's all, like, a giant Mormon community at this time, and, like, that in that 40 years that, like, they were in Vermont. So he leads them essentially through, like, the Nevada desert. Like, Utah's right beside, like, California. Literally
Moses,
led
right?
them. Yeah, literally Moses. So they called him the American Moses. And by the time they got there, they're like, everybody's now in love with this Brigham Young. And this Brigham Young, like, he owned the land, so he starts, like, selling off the land to everybody, like, that followed him. Was like, real, say, here's your plot of land, here's your plot of land, I'm like, you buy it from me, right? He owned all the companies and stuff. He started the schools there. He started Brigham Young University, started the University of Utah, right? Man, so you're working from him, you're living on his land, you're learning from him, right?
Sounds like a dictatorship to me.
Yeah, so he basically, like, it's a cult, it's a religious
it's
cult.
A fucking cult, yeah.
So this dude had 55 wives, right? And
that's it?
55 wives. But the surprising thing is, out of those 55 wives, he only had 59 children. Still a fuck ton of children, right?
Maybe he had, like, specific ones for childbearing.
So
and some he didn't want to ruin, I guess.
By, like, 1857, the U.S. government was like, okay, like, there's something going on in Utah. Like, we need to, like, go, like, claim this land, like, for, like, America. Because that specific territory was, like, when they left Vermont, it was part of Mexico. It wasn't American, like, U.S. territory. But by the time they got there, there was some treaty made with the, like, Native Americans and Mexicans and, like, the U.S. that it was now U.S. land. But it wasn't, like, the U.S. Army hadn't even been there. Like, nobody from the U.S. had, like, even made it that far yet. So, like, by 1857, the U.S. Army is like, okay, like, we're ready. We're gonna, like, go, go see what the fuck's up in Utah. We hear there's, like, some Mormons doing some fucked up shit over there. Like, 55 wives and stuff. We're gonna go bring some order to, like, Utah, install a governor, right? Like, get some, like, political shit going, right? Get Utah organized, right? Like, paying taxes and stuff. So the Mormons are like, nah.
No.
They're like, we're not going to let this happen. So this leads to the War of Utah.
How long did this war last?
It was a year long. It was actually not, like, there wasn't any major battles or anything. There was a lot of civilian deaths. So these Mormons went around, they, like, murdered, like, villages of people. that like didn't support them. So like the biggest
Mormons did that.
Yeah, there's the most notable one, like I don't think I wrote down the name of it, but there was 120 people that they killed.
120 people.
Yeah, and they're like pretty sure Brigham Young like ordered it, but they couldn't prove it. They like a whole bunch of other people got prosecuted later on, after the war was over. One like by the end of the war, they ended up like making some deals, and they instilled like Brigham Young as governor for a while, and then he gave up control.
Most of like average American, I bet you wouldn't even know that there's a war of Utah. They're like, what the fuck? I heard of the Civil War, but not the war of Utah.
So
that's my American accent. Everybody.
So basically, like, because like as you can tell, this is already like a pretty interesting start to this religion, right?
That's right, intriguing as hell.
And so like Mormons, like for like part of like a Mormon like thing, like tradition or whatever, is like they're like supposed to uphold like history or some shit like that. So they're very like. They're very keen on finding as much about Mormon history as they can, as much from the Joseph Smith time, as much documents and stuff. So, and this is booming like around like the end of the 1970s, early 1980s, because Mormonism is getting pretty big. They're starting to get like some money. Like more and more like wealthy people are becoming like Mormons, and Mormons have become more wealthy or whatever. So like around like that time period, like all these documents and stuff were starting to go like that were being found from that time period were starting to go for like tens of thousands of dollars. It was getting really expensive. So all of a sudden, in like 1980, this guy, Mark Hoffman, comes out of nowhere and he discovers this like Anton letter that like shakes like some Mormon history, like changes it, not for good, not for bad, but like gives them like, they're like, wow, this is amazing, and he sells it for like 50 grand or something like that. And all of a sudden this like Mark Hoffman guy starts like finding all these documents for lots of random like things, starts dealing like lots of documents.
The one where he found, tell him where he found the one.
I'll get so he started like to justify how he was like finding these like documents. He like came up with like, I'm using different like searching methods from other people. Like he started saying how like like he went to like postal stamps collectors. So instead of people like they're saving letters for the content, he went to people that are saving letters purely for the stamp. And he's like, I'm looking through those letters, like people who haven't even read these. He's like, he's finding like letters in books in like New York and stuff. He would go into like all these old timey used bookstores, find the dustiest book and stuff, and like pull out a letter out of it that'd be worth like $100,000.
That sounds believable. Like you tell me somebody went through that.
Yeah. Okay. So one time, 2 time, maybe, but this dude found like 30 different documents like this, right? Nobody,
1, 2, 3 times.
Nobody else is finding it. Like not even once. Nobody else is finding a letter like this.
It's like you gotta know where to look.
Right. Well, I guess you got to know where to look, right? So everybody thinks this guy's special, right? And he starts getting this hype in this Mormon document collecting world, and like actually one of the documents, like he dealt with documents that didn't even just have to do with Mormonism, just like Americana, like in history and stuff. So he found the Oath of the Freeman. So this is the most prized publication in American history. It was written in like the early 1600s. It was published. It was printed. Is the first printed publication in American history, and there's 50 copies of it, right? And none, as far as like they know right now, exist. I think they know what it says, but none like original copies actually exist. So this dude found one. And it got authenticated by the FBI. Right? All of his shit, like, or at the end of the day, got authenticated by, like, the top, like, appraisers and, like, authenticators and historians and shit. Because, like, people were buying these things for, like tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, like, all of a sudden, he finds this crazy letter called the Salamander Letter. The Salamander Letter. This letter shakes the entire like world of Mormonism because like it changes like how Joseph Smith discovered these golden plates. Instead of an angel appearing before him, this document says that Joseph Smith like followed a white salamander. Like he was like playing like magic and getting high or something like that, and like in like a delusion, a white salamander appeared to him, and he followed the white salamander in the forest on a treasure hunt, and found the golden plates. And this like totally changes the morals of like Mormonism and stuff, or like right, because like Joseph Smith's now like a stoner, like treasure hunter now instead of this like perfect saint and stuff, right? Changes the whole foundation of it, and it shakes the world. Goes for a lot of money, right? He keeps going on. He gets more famous, and then he starts dealing with. All of a sudden, he finds the McLennan Letter, the McLennan papers. It's like 53 like papers or something, and it's like supposed to completely rock the Mormon world, change everything that they know about it, right? And then so on the day that he's supposed to sell them, the guy that's like he found them from gets blown up.
Damn.
6 hours later, the guy he's supposed to sell them to,
this Mormons don't fuck around,
gets blown up.
Yo, fuck.
The next day, Mark Hoffman gets blown up.
Yeah.
Now Mark Hoffman survived, but the other two dudes actually died. So like now like the FBI, like all these governments are like sources are looking into it. Right? And they're like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on here. So it turns out almost all these documents that he was like selling were like forged. Like he sold real documents too, but he considered himself a forger, like because like he sold the real documents to cover up his fake documents.
That's so
like
clever.
He forged all of these things, like, and so he's considered like one of the greatest like forgers in American like history. And the whole reason he did it wasn't actually to make money. It was because he is like I can deceive the Mormon religion into changing the entire religion and their foundation and get them to change it. Some of it
actually went for it when he changed it to the white salamander. Yeah. People actually believed him.
Yeah.
And some people obviously are against it because, you know, motherfuckers died and Mormons don't fuck around about their religion.
No, but so he set off the bombs.
No way.
Yeah, he said because he never... So that he set up the McLennan papers deal too fast, and he didn't have time to write. So he was very quick at his forgery, but he overestimated himself. He couldn't get all 56 papers forged in time. So he tried to cover up the whole deal by blowing everybody up. And then he was actually supposed to blow up a third guy, but the third bomb went off by accident in his car, so he blew himself up.
Wow.
But it blew off by accident. It was like in the trunk or whatever, and yeah, so like it didn't like hurt him as bad as like the other guys.
Damn, and that's how they caught him.
Yeah, and that's how they caught him. Just started like.
Should have just continued trying to forge those 56 pages.
Yeah, he should have been like, "Yo, I need another week or whatever," right?
Yeah, should have bought another week.
Yeah, and the funny thing, like, it's not funny because the dude
died.
Yeah, people died, but like the dude that he found them from, thought he was buying them as well.
Yeah.
So he told one guy, "Yo, you're meeting this, we're gonna all meet with this guy, I found them from him, and so we're gonna get the papers, you're gonna give him the money." And then he told the other guy was, more gullible, so, that guy said, "Yo, just give me the money, I'll get the papers for you." And,
Shit.
he took the money off, both guys,
That's a whole, that's crazy. But yeah. I respect him in a way that he didn't want to do it for money, and he did it out of, just the fucking sheer principle of it. He's just like, you know what? I could manipulate people. Y'all don't even know. How I could manipulate you right now.
Yeah.
And he just proved the point to, for us, everybody, to be a little bit more cautious and aware. Open your fucking eyes and question everything.
He spent all of the money that he earned, as soon as he earned it. He had nothing left by the time
that's
he was...
because, if you...
Easy come, easy go.
If you die or if you get caught, at least you wasted it. You know?
It's
but
true.
I have a perfect segue out of here.
Did you?
Yeah.
Segue.
Out of here. Hold on. Let us sit here for a second. I don't want to fuck it up because it's a quote. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Joey Diaz. Let that simmer for a second. Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody's ready to die or want to.
You're gonna dance with the devil. Might as well leave.
So, this I don't want to fuck this person up, but there's a Buddhist there's a Buddhist person in Vietnam that died in a protest, and the way he protested against, like, because at that time there was a Roman Catholic government, and they were prosecuting Buddhists, which is like 70 or 80% of Vietnam at that time in 1963. This monk, Thich Quang Duc, a Vietnamese Mayan Buddhist monk, literally burned himself alive in a protest.
What?
Yeah, like,
that's wild.
Yeah, but it's crazy. There's like pictures of it, like the pictures got nominated and won like the picture of the year. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you took a picture, like. But at that time, I guess John F. Kennedy at the same time was in presidency. And he had a few words about it. Like, U.S. came and helped Vietnam, but like basically they were prosecuting Buddhists, and that was, they just had enough. Like, they don't know what to do. Like, this monk literally just came and he squared down and I guess he just poured gasoline on himself or whatever and just set himself on fire and sat there. It was world renowned. You know? And it really, like, I heard that quote from Joey Diaz and I remembered I heard about this person like a while ago and like I had to look it up and give it a little shout out because, you know, if you want to go to heaven, bro, you gotta be willing to fucking die.
Yo, bro, you're Muslim. How do you don't even believe in heaven?
I would believe in something called Jannah and the afterlife.
Is that like heaven?
It's like heaven.
Is that heaven?
It's like heaven.
Is it haram for you to say that?
No. As long as I have pure love and in my heart, I think it's haram to say. It's my opinion. It's how I feel, my thoughts. You know.
Fair enough.
Yeah. People perceive different religions very differently, like thanks to the media. Like, we're talking about like the media pushing down our throats ancestry or whatever. Yeah. Like, you know,
talk louder.
Game of Thrones pushing our fucking buttons and shit with incest, and other movies shoving it down our throat in media. So like people get manipulated a lot, like from the Mormons, from like hating different religion groups. From,
yeah, bro.
Like
a lot of people are drinking the Kool-Aid.
You know, there's like a good conversation about the Hollywood's trying to desensitize us from like those type of, you know, genres. You know, like they shoved like Game of Thrones down our fucking throat for like 9 seasons. You know, like people loved it and they're like, you know, okay, we look how much we could get away with. Let's just keep pushing this nasty stuff out. People, you know, there's that whole conversation about it. Like,
what was nasty about Game of Thrones?
Well, the incest.
Oh, nasty. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, they got sister fucking.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any sister fucking Hollywood. Why are you promoting sister fucking? That's a whole conversation.
Like, why are they trying to desensitize us from it? What is the purpose behind? Why do they want us to do this shit? Yeah. Like, why? Like, it wasn't like that back in the 90s. I don't remember anything growing up. Even after I grew up and I rewatched a lot in the 90s.
Well, we talked about this. There's Eurotrip. Eurotrip had sister fucking.
They kissed.
No, remember?
No, they actually kissed.
We watched it, but then we watched later in the scene, and they're like, "Oh, did you guys fuck?"
I think, we might have misinterpreted it.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, because I realized we misinterpreted because they're like, they kissed in the club, and they realized, and they screamed, like, what do we do?
Yeah.
So I think that guy was just making a joke or something.
Maybe.
We misinterpreted.
No, but still, there
was a hint.
There was still a sister fucking joke in there.
Yeah.
Right.
So. But that's a whole separate argument. Hollywood trying to brainwash us in different ways.
Yeah.
I haven't watched a lot of like TV shows recently, but I'm afraid, man. I don't want to get into it. What do you got for us today? What else we got?
I wanted to ask you. So, like, we're on episode 10. What's been your favorite part about doing this podcast so far, man?
I feel like the favorite part has been the progression of our dedication to the craft. I like how we started off not so good, and like by 10 we're like not so good but a little bit better.
Yeah, well, we're more professional now. We've got like a real microphone. Our real microphone is actually plugged in properly and whatnot.
One drink.
We have a second camera. We're like
third camera, fourth camera.
We're like HD recording and stuff. Hopefully we don't look like potatoes this time on YouTube.
Potatoes is an awesome vegetable. Come on, man. It goes a long way. You can do a lot with a potato.
You don't want to look like a potato, though.
Well, yeah, you're right. But, like, hey, I'm like glass half full guy. If I look like a vegetable, at least it's a potato. You can make vodka out of it.
You got anything else for us?
What about you? What's your favorite part of this?
Oh, yeah. My favorite part? Yeah. My favorite part is, like, every episode, like, we've had to, like, learn something. I've been studying more. I've been writing. Yeah. Like, it's, like, my creative side has come out. Like, I wrote a poem this weekend.
That was a good poem.
Right? Guys, check out my poem on Twitter. I posted on Twitter. It's called The Sad Dog Poem.
I agree. I got more creative juices flowing through my mind. Like, I'm more inclined to write stuff down before I used to just think about it. And now, like, I actually just write it. And you're right.
Yeah, no, I've been enjoying that aspect of it. That like I'm learning more fun. And like like expressing myself more on paper, and like it's been fun doing this. I've been hanging out more often, been drinking lots, and like somebody's been listening to us, so like that gives me excitement. Like I get feedback from like some friends, like I don't know, hopefully some randoms have listened.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Maybe Ari gave us a listen. Hopefully.
Who knows? Like, right? He went on her profile. Maybe clicked her Spotify link.
God, I wish that they could tell us, like, Ari went on your profile, and he lasted 10 seconds. Like, yes, better than 8. Told you, glass up full, man.
Yeah.
What else we got for today for you guys? Talking about vibrations. Did you know about like Stephen Hawking's voice? Yeah, it was designed by this one interesting fellow who was ironically battling. He was going through chemotherapy himself and lost his voice. I don't want to make that the butt of the joke or anything, but that actually happened.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, and it was quite early back then. I believe it was back in 1985, and that technology wasn't there yet. So the guy basically had 300 different individual recordings of his voice for Stephen Hawking's,
Yeah.
And eventually, like, he completed a program, and a year after he passed away. And, eventually they're like way better technology, and they're like, yo, we can make you like British accent, they're gonna sound exactly how you used to. Like, no. Yeah. He's like, thank you, but late friend Dennis' voice is my voice. So,
nice, cool.
Yeah. That was kind of interesting. I'm like,
that
what
is
if
that
like the dude's like wife came over to Stephen Hawking, like, can you say I love you? I love you.
Did you know Stephen Hawking used to give lectures here in Waterloo?
Yeah, he came here a couple times.
Perimeter Institute.
And Waterloo University, right?
Well, Perimeter Institute is like, I think, a branch of the University of Waterloo.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, but they do like theoretical physics there. He was a resident professor there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he taught classes there and shit constantly. So
it was so cool. Like,
pretty cool.
When I first moved here and like learning about that, I'm like, really? The smartest guy was here, huh?
Yeah.
Makes me feel a little smarter.
Yeah.
Look at him resonating his smartness around the city of Waterloo.
So, did you hear about how a local man set a new Guinness World Record?
A local man set a Guinness World Record in Waterloo, Kitchener?
Yeah.
Oh, shout out to Kitchener.
Yeah, he set
Tell me about this.
He set a world record for the most burpees in 1 hour.
Most burpees 1 hour? How many do?
He did 879.
Jeez.
In 1 hour. Yeah, he's like basically pacing to do like 15 a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, I could probably do about like 15 in an hour.
15 burpees.
Yeah. I haven't worked out in ages, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. Dude, 879
Where did he do it? What did he do in the gym? Or like...
Yeah, I think he it was in the news. I saw it on CTV.
His name?
No, I didn't get his name, man. I should have got his name.
Yeah, the listeners.
Y'all we'll post his. I'll post his name or something.
Give him a little
Maybe I won't.
Local shout out.
Local shout out to the dude that set the world record.
The world record. What else we got for today?
I got another thing, but it's probably like a lengthy one. I might save it for the next time because we're kind of out of retention.
Here we go, a little bit of a cliffhanger for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I got a good story about the Titanic. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
I like a good old Titanic story.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to episode 10, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Follow, subscribe, like, do whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Peace. I fucking give peace here and there, everybody. Peace out.